We come out here and say Kwam Yasharallah, which simply means rise Israel. Rise to the nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. If you believe in the Bible, if you believe that there is a man named Jesus Christ who came and gave his life before, then you must believe that he will return. Go to Matthew chapter 24. Start at verse 12.
This is the... Is it on? Mic check?
Yep.
It is.
Mic test? It is.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. He said 13?
12.
Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
He said, because iniquity, which is sin, shall abound. So one of the signs that he said would be at the end times is that sin would be at an all-time high. So when you look at the state of our communities, when you look at our people, when you look at the state of the world, all you see is sin. All you see is iniquity. All you see is evil. How many people have you experienced in your life that do wrong, that rob, that steal, that kill, that gangbang, that terrorize their own communities? He said that would cause the love of many to wax cold. Jump up to verse 5.
Verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ.
He said, many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. Not only in a literal sense do you see people who come and claim to be the Messiah because it gets them clout, because it gets them money, because it gets them women. But you see a lot of people falsely coming in Christ's name. But this is nothing new. When you look in the Bible, there were always those who found power and refuge for their vices by holding a Bible, and were the furthest thing from God. But this gives you authority. It gives you ability. So people will utilize this Bible to do the evil or to do the sin that is within their own hearts. Read on.
And shall deceive many.
He said that many are going to be deceived. How many Christian pastors do you know claiming to perform miracles? And they only do it in their churches. And they doing it for a fee. They charging you to help you in God's name. And in what space does that ever make sense? How you already struggling to pay bills. You already struggling to get by. And then you got somebody, the worst thing that they sell you is not a house, even though these houses cheap. These houses is wood and material. It's not even that. The worst thing that people sell you is false hope. And a whole lot of our people are getting by on that false hope because you have somebody that wants to pacify you because they want gain. They want to see what they can get as opposed to saving your soul. If you want to find those that are righteous, if you want to find those that are truly living the Bible, you need to examine what their lives look like. If your pastor, you already know. It wasn't no secret that pastors were sleeping with men's wives, after people money, doing all type of conniving, backstabbing things for their own personal gain. And these are supposed to be the leaders in our community. These are the supposed men of God in our community. And Christ already told us long time ago, he said, these are going to be the signs of the end times. Many are going to come in my name and deceive many. Many of our people are deceived with the belief of what godliness is. I'll give you another one. A lot of our people are deceived by what they believe wickedness to be. Go hold that and go to 1 John. Is that 3 and 4 or 2 and 4? It's 2 and 3. 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. If you have a Bible, you can follow along. You can prove what we're saying. We're not coming out here because we get physical money. We're not coming out here because our desire is to get something for you. Our desire is to do what thus saith the Lord. To show our people their iniquity and to hopefully save your soul. We're not asking you for no money. Go ahead.
1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him.
I'm sorry, 3 and 4.
1 John chapter 3 and verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law.
So a lot of people have misconceptions that allow them to continue to believe in the lies that have been pushed into our communities. One of them being You ask 10 different people what sin is, and everybody's going to give you a different answer. Nobody understands what thus saith the Lord. The first thing that we should establish before we go calling somebody good or somebody evil is, what does the word of the Lord say? He said, if you transgress the law, so okay, there's stipulations. Well, what are these stipulations? When people talk about being a good person, they're like, oh, I give toys on Christmas, I do this, I do that. Whole time, do y'all know that Christmas is spoken against in the Bible? We're not going to go to it, but you can read Jeremiah chapter 10. It talks about people fixing a tree. It talks about putting ornaments on it. It talks about how when you reach down to get your gifts, you're bowing down to an idol. It talks about how our people look up and see constellations and follow the stars. This is the same thing that's been happening for thousands of years. Everybody defining their personality as astrology, that's nothing new. But it is not of God. Go ahead.
Verse 4. For sin is the transgression of the law.
So he defines it for you outright. He says sin is the transgression of the law. So if you want to know how you're doing, the first thing you have to know is, what does the law say? What is a sin? What is acceptable in the eyes of God? And what is unacceptable? Go back to Matthew.
What verse? He was like 7? Somewhere in there.
Yeah. What is acceptable and unacceptable in the eyes of God? That's a huge misconception. Are you living in sin? Now, a lot of people, they ask themselves that, and if you don't know the law, you can't honestly answer that for yourself. That's why you see in the New Testament, there was a man reading. He said, do you understand what you're reading? He said, how can I except a man teach me? That's why there were always leaders and men that the Most High God chose to go and help the people. Hold that. Go to Isaiah 58:1. That's the crazy part. As much as we get a bad rap, we telling you the truth. But you know what they say? Sometimes the truth what? Truth hurts. Sometimes the truth hurts. And the reality is, we're so far gone in a state of sin, we don't have time to play nice anymore. We don't have time to pussyfoot around anymore. You have to know what thus saith the Lord. Our people are on a fast track to hell. I'm telling you the truth. Because look, how many churches do you have in our communities? And these are the same communities with high crime rates. These are the same communities with gang violence. These are the same communities with prostitution. Does it look like God is amongst our communities? Does it look like we've been truly following the way that our forefathers have kept for millennia? Absolutely not. Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 58 and verse 1. Out, cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
So he said, cry aloud and don't spare. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. To do what?
And show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sin.
He said to show my people their transgression. That's what we're out here to do. To show our people the way that we live is iniquitous in the eyes of God. You know one simple law that most of our people violate, and it's in the 10 Commandments that everybody knows? What's the 4th commandment? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it set apart. And most of the time, Saturday is the day that our people go and buy, sell, work, all things that are forbidden to be done on the Sabbath day. But guess what? If we're not taught, we don't know. So he sent forth teachers to show our people, show them that they're doing wrong. That's real love. Real love is, I'm not going to tell you everything you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to know. If you're on your way to death, wouldn't you want to be stopped? So all the more reason, more than your physical life, your soul is at stake. More than what you're going to lose here, it's about everything you have to gain in the next life if you follow God. Read on.
Was that all of that? Yeah. Read it from the top.
Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sin.
He said, and the house of Jacob. Who is the house of Jacob? Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Bring it up. When we read the Bible and we hear about these people, most of the time, it is the furthest thing from us to be thinking that we're looking in a mirror. To be thinking that we're looking through time at our own people in a different kingdom, at a different time. Here's the crazy part. First and foremost, God only had one chosen people throughout the entire Bible that you read about. Even when you see Jews and Gentiles, Christ told them in Matthew 10, he said, go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into the city of the Samaritans, enter ye not. Because he already told you, this is not for everybody. He has a particular people that he has chosen. In the same way that can't everybody come to your house, right? If I said all of us, we want to come to your house, we want to have dinner tonight, you going to open up your house? You don't know me, I don't know you. It's not saying we can't build a relationship, but it has to be built, right? So how then would God have a people that was welcome in his holy land and suddenly we're all God's children? How did that happen? Where did that come from? Because I don't see it in the Bible.